Another Saturday, heading out. Got a bit of a head cold. Allergies, the pollen in the air. Since last Saturday, been sneezing, sniffling, and after that century ride. Happens this time of year. The plants are reproducing, and
this is the trek store in the woodlands.
So it's a bit of a head cold. I'll see how my body feels. I feel good overall. I didn't get to ride as much as I would like this week. When do we ever, right? So, looking forward to this ride.
On this ride, I left Northampton, rolled into the woodlands. I took the long way around, had a bit of time, picked up the group at the Alden Village Center. We headed out on Research Forest. Once we got on the open road on Fishcreek, nice steady pace all the way, Capitol Hill, Raven Chapel. One rider we picked up had a flat. We stopped briefly and we continued into Montgomery. We ended the filming at Taco. We continued after leaving Taco, took Bailey Grove, came back on 149, went through downtown Montgomery and took Spring Branch Road back to Keenan Cutoff. We stopped at a store there briefly, took the Hills Parkway through Grand Lake Estates, all the way out to Hornia Egypt Road, climbed all the way back into the Woodlands, Texas. It was a very, very nice ride. Very interesting. The tempo was very good. I think you will love the clips we put together for you.
Going to Masters Nationals PT.
We're at the Alden Village Center, the Woodlands, Texas.
A lot of work. I'd have to really lean out.
We're heading out into Montgomery County, Texas. The road less traveled, less competition with automobiles, so we can enjoy the scenery, the sights and sounds.
Yeah, I like the route today.
Yeah, I figured we'll go get some trees in and come back the historical way. You can branch off on the right and go home.
We ended up with a pretty decent turnout. We're going to pick up a few riders as we hit the road.
Going towards the Overpass.
It was like our muggiest day yet this year.
Yeah. You know, to go to the sort of the neighborhood to get to my place.
Yeah.
That was, the gas station on the left and that bank they're building. That is, I was looking at that video last night. That was just beautiful like this.
Yes, yes.
What Mike is talking about is the development in the area. You know, it happens. People move in here, people grow, and the area changes. The good thing about the woodlands, they restrict how much clearing you can do on these lots. That's why you see all these trees. You can't just come and hack everything down, which doesn't make any sense. You get rid of all the trees, nothing is here to clean the air.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
So we hit Research Forest Boulevard here. I added a directional circle there. You see that little red arrow, not red, yellow arrow above the temperature gauge. That lets you know our heading. So now I think we have everything you need.
Here and there, man.
So Paul and I are just kind of catching up.
Nothing
My form is coming along nicely. This is, I think my third or fourth week back. Probably my fourth week back, and my fitness is improving. The Garmin head unit I have, the 1040, has some kind of training software in there. It's never correct. You know, it supposedly lets you know whether your training was productive and yada yada. I don't pay attention to it. It's just there.
So it took a long time.
So I'm telling him about a bike I was dealing with, a very old bike called a Surly Long Haul, and it had some frozen spacers, aluminum spacers on the steel steerer tube. You know, whoever assembled it did not put any anti-seize or even grease on there, so it had oxidized. So I had to think outside the box to peel it off, basically using a hacksaw and a chisel. You know, so it's kind of cool. This week I posted on our board for this ride that it's not a no-drop ride, so people need to study the route or download the map. Some of the other rides that people post during the week in our area, they want to restrict the speed. That's too boring. There is no obligation for me to follow a rider when they take off. So if you don't want to do that speed, don't do it. Why should we hold everybody to one speed? That's dull. Imagine getting in your car and being limited to 20 miles an hour, and so everybody's bunched up in a group. So no, we don't do that in our group. I don't think it's proper or it makes sense, because if you want to ride with faster riders, you go and do the necessary work that makes you deserve to be able to keep up with them. You can't slow them down for you. You need to ride up to them. So I told everybody, you know, if you take off and there are splits, don't wait. Because why wait and do the same speed that caused the splits? If you're doing 45 kilometers an hour or 37 kilometers an hour and the group splits, if you slow down, wait for people and do the same effort, it's going to split again. So there's no point to that. So I'm trying to get people to realize that you don't get to just ride with everybody because we tell them to slow down. No, if they want to go slower that day, then you're fortunate enough. The pace of our group is determined by who shows up and the time of year. That's it. And you don't have to follow everybody. You can do your own thing. Back off and find light riders. The issue in our area, many of these guys just ride. They don't understand the sport. When you wait for them, they don't understand you waiting for them. They're struggling, you wait for them, then they want to take pulls. I had to tell one guy, sit on my wheel. You think I waited for you so you can come pull me back? You just sit on my wheel so we can get back up there. If you could take a pull, then you shouldn't have let them go. You know, it's an ego thing, or they just don't understand. If somebody waits for you because you're struggling, just sit on the wheel. They're helping you out. Don't feel obligated to take a pull. That doesn't prove anything to them, because you end up looking like you don't know what you're doing. Because if you could come through and take a pull and put your nose in the wind, then you should have been able to sit in the wheels. You know, so it's kind of like, that's what I'm telling Paul. Paul is like, I put the comment on the board that said, this is not a no-drop ride. You better come, make sure you got your flat repair. I didn't put that on there, but you better make sure your bike is maintained. You know, on this ride, you will see we pick up a rider on the road who we know, but we didn't know he was riding with us. We just happened to cross him on Fishcreek. But he had a flat, one of those tubeless failures once again. You know, he claimed that he had enough sealant in there or whatever. We see more tubeless failures out here than even the regular stuff. But from what I've seen and the fact that I work with it in a shop, I don't particularly want it on my bike at this point. I don't want to deal with sealants. You get a hole in that thing, you would spray people. Laura got her kit damaged by sealant from another rider's wheel. And it's hard to get them off your decent kit. So we're riding the Century last week. As soon as Paul saw another rider's sealant, he said, "Man, let's get from behind him." Yeah, you don't want stands or whatever they're using getting on your kit. It's like glue. It's hard to get off. So you can't call it tubeless and you got to put sealant in there, and then you got to still carry a tube and all that. It's not tubeless. When they get it to where it works like cars, I don't carry no sealant in my car. They put the tire on there, it's great. Until if I get a puncture, they plug it at the tire shop and I continue driving. They don't put any sealant in the wheel. The sealant is a mess. When people bring their bikes to my shop, I charge them for having to deal with sealant because it dirties the inside of the rim. In addition to that, the people who use tubes and try to put like those little gooey things they sell that you can put inside the tube. I'm not sure what they call them. They have different brands. A lot of them are green. They call them slime or whatever. They're a mess. Hate dealing with them. So people will ask, what do I need to do to avoid flats? Well, you can put liners on there and just watch how you ride. Watch where you ride. Lighten the load. That's what you can do. I don't get flats very often. I keep up with my tires and I replace them before they're completely gone. But for the most part, punctures are not an everyday thing if you know what you're doing. So we hit Egypt Lane here. We just turn right. You can see on the little map up there. We're still in the woodlands. We're on the edge of the city. on the shoulder of the city.
3 to 5 days. Bring your bike and tell me. 3 to 5 days, I will text you when it's ready.
We're headed north.
Commit to a day anymore.
You see the yellow arrow. I like that feature there. So at all points you can know you're heading.
These look kind of like condos and yeah.
They're talking about on the left where they're building here. That used to be a vacant lot. And they put these up pretty quickly. It takes them maybe 2 to 3 months to put those up, and people take 50 years to pay for them or whatever. Lou was here. Lou says she's not used to seeing houses made out of wood. Where I grew up in Western Africa, our houses are made out of cinder blocks. I mean, you can do them here. I think in Florida they do the same thing. They use cinder blocks and they put sheetrock on the inside or something. You could do that here, but it's a more solid structure.
Check all the competitors in the woodlands.
Yeah.
$100 a day.
And some buildings are still made with steel and cinder blocks. Mostly the commercial buildings. But all the single family homes, they use wood.
Rent it for 8 hours the whole day.
Yeah.
So you pay $100.
Yeah.
They use wood because wood expands and contracts really well. I mean, if you're sitting in your home and the temperature changes, you can hear it popping sometimes. It's like the house is talking to you.
Yeah.
And in the agreement, if they bring it back dirty, you charge them. So. But that's something where I don't have to be involved to be making money.
People have requested the need to rent bikes from me, and so I was telling Paul about setting up a service for bike rental. A lot of people are traveling. The weekend after this ride, the next weekend, the Ironman is being held in the Woodland, the Ironman qualifier. So there will be a lot of cyclists from all over the world coming into the Woodlands, Texas to do the Ironman. A full marathon, the swim, bike, and run.
Yeah.
They do a full marathon, so it's going to be interesting. So the roads are going to be a mess in the Woodlands. They already have the signs out letting people know. Plan accordingly. Ironman is next week. And also the MS 150
Yeah, I saw
is
it late at
next
night.
Saturday, the 30th of April.
For about 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
He said that the shorts would be like a windy walk. I told her I wanted to be
We are building a new Veloharmony kit, and this will be like a Euro style kit. We have a lot of sponsors. We have a lot of services that we want to advertise on the jersey. We're starting with 2 colorways, and periodically we'll add different colorways. Like, let's say in the spring, around St. Patty's Day, we'll probably try to get a green colorway, and maybe we'll get a pink colorway for breast cancer awareness over time, of course, just to keep the interest. But we're starting off with a pearl white and an orange version. It's in the design phase at this point. When it is done, our sponsor Clifton Cycling will be, if you look in the description of this video, the link will be there, but Clifton Cycling will handle all sales and whatever else. If you want to get yourself a copy, I will be getting multiple copies of each color design because I plan to wear it extensively. We're making shorts. We're going to have socks and gloves. Top quality Euro style kit. Body fitting. We're not doing any kind of what they call a club fit. It's going to be race fit. It will be like style like the Rafa Pro Team sizing, you know. That's what we're going with. So it should look awesome. I want it to be something I want to wear every day, pretty much. That's the whole point. And we can periodically mix and match our shorts with other kit as we see fit, but we're doing the whole shebang. And Clifton Cycling is handling everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're getting close to the open road.
This is the only thing standing.
That's the reason I posted like I did, because I wanted to, everybody's welcome, more everybody.
Yeah.
I'm telling Paul about the posting what I did about the ride because I want every rider to feel welcome to join us whenever they're in the mood. If you feel like flying off the front, well, we'll see you at the store or wherever. Or if somebody else wants to sit on your wheel and go with you, that's fine. But to constantly try to restrain people, that's like putting restrictions on a thoroughbred horse. You want to go with the top guys? Get yourself in shape. Go there. Push yourself. That's the whole point. You go with the A group, you get tired with them, you drift back, pick up the B group. If you get tired with the B group, drift back, pick up the C group. You got somebody to ride with. I'm telling him straight, but then he says he knows. He was just looking.
Straight, yeah. Okay, gotcha.
He was waiting for us to get on the road. We thought he was looking back for traffic to turn left onto Honia Egypt Community Road, which is on the left. This section of Fishcreek is called Honia Egypt. Right here, it continues to the left, called Honia Egypt Community Road. On this straight direction, it's called Sendera Boulevard. And then after the bridge, a few kilometers up, it becomes Fishcreek Thoroughfare. So if you look on the map right now, you will see the name. It says Sendera Ranch Drive in that little circle at the top right. So the name changes, but the official name, the original name is FM 2978, Farm to Market Road. They do that as you go through different areas and different towns and villages. They give it a different name of the same road, has different sections are renamed. So right now we're on Sendera Ranch Road, FM 2978, heading north towards Montgomery County, Texas. We're on the edge. We may already be in Montgomery County because Montgomery and Harris, the lines are close here in the Woodlands. I believe we're in Montgomery now. And you look on the map on the profile at the top, you can see the whole ride we're going up. And then as we come back, we come down as we come back into town. So that's why I like to go north. This is where you get 3 to 7%, depending on where you go. We have some 8%ers. I showed Paul one on a little side road on Sunday. Paul and I finally got our chance to ride together on Sunday. It's been a long time since we just headed out, the two of us. It was great, very enjoyable. I really enjoyed it. We explored, we found new roads as usual. So we're always finding new roads in the same area. Roads that don't really go anywhere, but you just ride past them. But we like to go check them out. And we found a nice 8% outdoor style climb with a switchback and a kick up. We enjoyed that. And all the dogs on that road were restrained behind fences, so it was perfect. It was in Keenan. And you see, Barrera is on his, Mike Barreras is on his TT style. He's got a TT style bar, but really the clip-ons on his road bike. And he's down on the TT and just pushing a big gear and pulling us towards Taco Corner. I'm trying to get low because Laura and Mo and who else? They get lower. They get really low. You got to get close and you got to be low to benefit from the drive. Otherwise, I feel like you're not pulling. And then with Mike B on his clip-on bars, he's low too. So Laura's right up on his wheel and she's staying low herself. You know, that's how you save energy. So you're not working hard the entire time. We're going to go downhill. I think we're going to exceed 30 miles an hour. Because Mike puts it in some kind of gear. I have to rev up the gear I'm in. If you look at my cadence, it's triple digits just to get to them. Look, oh, I saw 120 there. I didn't want to push. That's what you have to do. When the road's flat and you're trying to keep up with a fast group, you got to spin the gear. You got to be able to do it all. 52K. I think we got up to like 55K, which is about 33, 34 miles an hour. Right now at 50K, we're doing 31 miles an hour. We're right around 30 miles an hour. That's moving. I mean, you know, we got a bit of a tailwind, but there's a breeze from the side. You can hear it. When you're going that fast, it's never a perfect tailwind. It takes a special situation. And to going this fast for this long, you gotta stay close. Otherwise, you will expend a lot of energy. You can see my heart rate has now jumped into the 160s. The road is gonna start kicking up. You see where it says 0.6? So it's a false flat here. And if you note on the profile where it says, I guess we're 10 kilometers in, yeah, it's starting to go up now. We're going into the lumps, as we refer to them in our area. I can feel the grade here, so I changed my cadence to where it's going to be 75 to about 90. You got to be able to handle a high cadence. You got to be able to handle a medium cadence, a low cadence. You got to train your body to do all of it. All of it is spinning, but people tend to use the word spinning in cycling to mean high cadence. If you're smooth enough, you can spin at 75 RPMs. You can spin at 100. Much above 110 RPM is hard to be very efficient, so you don't want to stay there too long. It's kind of like your car. If you're driving and you accelerate, the tachometer goes into the red, or if you push it long enough, goes near the red. You don't stay there, you shift, and the revs come down. It's the same thing with your body. If you constantly going above your comfortable cruising cadence, you expend more energy and you have to pay the tax later. So it's not just pushing a big gear that is not efficient, but spinning too small a gear for too long is inefficient. Once you use the gear to get up to speed, you shift up to maintain it. You got to be able to handle that bigger gear. Some riders act like they're scared to get in the big gear. Yeah, it hurts, but you got to get in there if you want to do the work. Sometimes you just got to push. I'm quoting somebody in our area. Paul knows who it is. Sometimes you got to push. Laura is pulling. Now my heart rate says 157. Because of the humidity on this day, it felt like 10 beats higher. So the way you feel is going to vary. This is the issue with heart rate training only, because it's affected by the weather. And the weird thing is, after this ride, later in the day, we got a storm in the area, and on Sunday it was 10 C in the morning, and it felt like 7 or 8 C. It was breezy and colder than the day before. We got a storm that came in. It's still spring here, so we get these spring storms. It blew in a cool front, so Sunday was very crisp, as opposed to today, Saturday, during this ride, where it felt like we're in a steam bath, kinda. It's just muggy. The air felt thick, and literally you could see the sweat dropping off your chin while you were riding. I would look down my bottom bracket and just see droplets of sweat going down, hitting the road. Green up. Laura gets up to speed. Mike, the way you dropping us. Laura's getting back up to speed. Business of riding here. Laura doesn't mess around. Laura is investing in moving time. So if you look at the road visibly and you look at the profile map, you see what's going on. We're going north. Every time you go north in our area, you are going up. You're going to be working. And it varies, just like when you're doing mountain climbing, you'll have your little 3%ers and it'll level off. Then you'll have a 4 or 5%er, then it'll level off, yada, yada, yada. Right now I'm doing almost 500 watts. Because that's what my body needs to haul my 80-something kilos up this thing. I'm about 6 or 7 pounds above where I was last summer. I mean, everything fits the same, but it's like I was like 185, I'm 192 now. So that's about 3.5 kilos above where I was last July, let's say. I don't really worry about it so much because I feel strong and powerful. I don't worry so much about my weight because if you get too much into that, I don't like to get on the bike hungry and all that kind of stuff. So you need to make sure you're not starving yourself. Because I look at these pro cyclists today, they look like skeletons. They don't look right. I mean, not every one of them, but some of them just look too skinny. I stand here because it feels good for me. I'm just keeping the effort. That puts me close to 400 watts. Then I sit. Now, Laura was just maintaining her momentum. As the road goes up, El Pirata just starts to, she's just riding. That's it, you know. I'm gonna get off the front in a little bit. I'm waiting till it flattens out a little bit. And I'll pull off to the left.
You guys see that you might get hailed on?
What Logan is talking about is there is a storm coming, but it's gonna be much later in the afternoon. We did have to deal with a lot of wind coming back, but the storm did not arrive till long after we were home, probably around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And it just got, you know, it rained quite a bit and rained pretty much most of Saturday night and the wee hours of Sunday morning, then the rain ceased. But by the time we hit the road, they were dry. I learned from Jerry Lupner that when it rains and there's a lot of wind, the roads dry quickly. So that's how I made my decision not to put on mud guards on the bike for Sunday's spin. I slipped to the back. After I pulled, I slipped to the back because it's like, it just felt very muggy. And we have, we're doing about 100 kilometers, let's say about 62 miles. That's Logan back there. I think Paul's pulling off. I don't know. I think he is. So this part of this highway now, FM 2970, I believe it's called Fishcreek Blvd. If you look on the map up there, yeah, Fishcreek Thoroughfare. It used to dead end at some railroad tracks. They call it a thoroughfare because now they open it up with the overpasses. The overpasses go over the railroad tracks. So when you see us going over that railroad track, that's where this road used to end. And that bridge that we came back down at 35 miles an hour was not always there. Many years ago, it ended before you got, there was no bridge. It ended in the neighborhood there. I get on the back, and I think I've got it in a fairly large gear, just kind of rolling. And I don't know if I got something to drink or whatever. I kind of settled myself because we've got the overpass coming. You always have to think like that. What's coming? Where do I need to work? If you want to stay with the group, depending on how you feel. Where do I need to work? Timing is important. There's no point in you killing yourself early and then some hill or something comes and then you're shot out the back. Save your energy for the crucial points that matter to you. If your goal is to say, your goal should always be when you get with a group, especially one that you're not comfortable with, your goal should be, first of all, let's see what they're doing. How am I handling this pace? And your goal should be, how can I finish with them? Or how can I make the next stop with them? Or whatever. You set little goals. And then once you're comfortable with the group, then you can start doing more. Somebody's pushing. Doesn't matter to me. I know this area very well. And the thing is that you don't want to go too hard here. This is a nice little bump. Like 2%. Then we're going to go up that little overpass. The overpass on the right side is actually shallower than the one we used to share on the left. Because a few years ago, we used to go on the left because it was a 2-lane sharing on the left side. They only had one bridge. So this is a new bridge. This is shallower. Yeah, Logan was on the front, and now we're going here. So if you get on the front, resist the urge to change the pace. You're better off staying there at the same pace and stay a little longer, especially if you're working with others in the group. Going super fast when it's your turn discourages other people from coming to pull. Somebody's pushing on here. I just sit and power whatever gear I'm in. It doesn't matter to me. See my cadence in the 90s. I figure I'll do at least 350, 450 to get up this thing at this pace anyway. Didn't seem too hard. Yeah, some moron's blowing because he's going to be turning right, and it would make too much sense for him to get behind us. We have too many idiots driving cars with no sense. Even in my car, I see so much dumb stuff every time I go on the road. Just dumb decisions being made. They wonder why they have issues. Like this morning, I was taking my wife somewhere. We're going to go pick up her car. It was getting service. So we're riding together. There's a school bus in the right lane riding. All of a sudden, the school bus signals with the left signal, meaning I want to get in the left lane. There is a vehicle that's disabled in the right lane. That's why the school bus needs to go over. So there's a car behind the school bus. The signal's on. I'm in the left lane. They're in the right lane. I slow down after I see the school bus signal. The car behind the school bus jumps in front of me, which startles me because it's closer to me. It wasn't, super close. But then he zooms by the school bus that's waiting to get in the left lane. So I just sat there and waited. I just stopped and everybody behind me stopped. And then the school bus driver moved over, went around the disabled truck, and then he put on both flashers as he got over, at basically saying to me, thank you. And the moron who did that 50 yards down the road is sitting right in front of the same school bus at the next traffic light, oblivious to the hazard he just created back there. That's what I'm talking about. They need a higher level of intelligence as a requirement for issuing driver's licenses in the US. That's just my 2 cents. Anyway, right here we turned on the Capitol Hill Road. We had picked up Mike Weingrad. He used to ride with Team RR. He's on my left, and he wants to come to say good morning. And he slows down like he wants to chat. You see me look left? He said, hi, I'm doing? I said, fine. And I'm watching the riders riding away from us. He wants to talk. This is not the time to talk. There's a time to talk and there's a time to ride. This is the time to ride. You see, I go around these guys. Paul is on my wheel. He sees the same thing I see. If you're gonna ride with these guys, why are you letting them go and then come back and chase them? I said that on the last video. That's the equivalence of climbing a tree, marking a fruit, going down and throwing stones at it. You're already on the wheel. If you're gonna ride with these guys, stay on the wheel. If you let them go, then let the whole group go. It makes no sense to let a gap open and then come back and chase it. You create problems for everyone in the group. You're gonna be on the wheel, stay on the wheel. It's one thing if you're having trouble, but they do that throughout the ride, like oblivious to the fact that you need to keep the spacing right, keep the gaps closed. You spend all day going around riders. So most of the time, you want to stay in the top third of your group, especially if you have riders leaving gaps, so you can go with the moves. Otherwise, it takes more action, more effort for you to come up there. Mike likes to do this. Going downhill now, he's going to hammer, and so I think the guy in the front is Enoch. Enoch is going to chase him down. And we do the same thing. Sometimes when we're in the mood, we'll chase him down. Sometimes we'll just wait till he slows down. He's on his TT bars. The road's going to kick up a bit. You can see where it says 1.5. It's kicking up. So now he's going to back off. So when you're riding and you come up behind somebody, don't just queue up behind them. Unless you're really struggling, go around them. Because you caught them. Just keep your speed. Keep pedaling. Don't slow yourself down because they slow down. I'm reading the road here. There's a lot of little ruts and stuff, you know. Patina. You got to use your hips. See how my bike is sliding. You use your hips. By using your hips, you're not scaring the riders following you or near you, because you're gliding. You are not making drastic moves. We turn here. This is a grade. I go around Mike S5 because once again the wheels are going up the road. We need to get up there. You can see Longa follows. I don't know what they're doing up there. I think Mike Barreras does not want to be on the front. Enoch, I don't know what he's doing. In a little bit, Enoch will switch all the way to the left. I end up staying on the right because I'm not sure what he's doing. I'm following the fastest wheel here. So I'm not sure who's pulling, who's not pulling. I'll go ahead and get off of Enoch's wheel because he went to the left. So I'm going to follow Mike for a bit.
Yes.
You got one bright ass light there.
That's Dan the man telling Paul that Paul has a bright light on his back, on his bike, the Cycle light. When I'm following a rider that has a very bright light on, I don't look at the light. Just look at the wheel. Or look around the rider. You don't need to look at the light. If you look directly at the light, it affects your vision. I stand a bit, keep the gear rolling. It felt very stuffy on this ride. It's very humid. So I'm not sure what Enoch is doing on the left there. That just does not compute. Either you're going to pull the group or get your butt to the back. If you're going to ride off the front, ride off the front. What's the point of sitting to the left of Mike? Now, look at that. So he's sitting up. Mike just ignores him. These guys don't have a clue. It's like, you know, what are you doing? You do that in a race, they will let you sit there. And when you cooked, then they attack you. And you be off the back. Please. You need to save your energy. You don't know what's to come. A lot of these guys will do that foolishness, and then when you go out, they don't continue to ride. They have to turn around and come home when we get the taco. Because they have wasted energy doing foolishness, what we call foo-foo stuff. He did all of that, now he's drifting to the back. That's the stuff I'm talking about. We call it foo-foo moves. F-O-O-F-O-O, foo-foo. Moves that accomplish absolutely zip. You're not impressing anybody by doing stuff like that. What does that mean? Look at how much energy I can waste. You get up there, do it all day. Then we'll be impressed. I always tell these guys when I do these rides, I don't get to go home and take a nap. I got to go to work. So I don't waste my energy. A lot of times they'll be doing stuff. I'll let the group go knowing that I'm not going to waste too much energy to where I get home and I'm wasted. I can't function. So no. Tête à jambe, as the French say. Your head and your legs. That's what you ride with. You don't just pedal the bike. You use your head. So this is Mike Weingrad right here on the left. That's Logan on the right. We picked up Mike on Fishcreek Blvd. Mike used to ride with us when we rode with Team RR. And Mike is having a slowly deflating tubeless tire. He's not aware of it at this point. Neither am I. I pull off the front here. I hear them talking. I'm like, if you can talk, come and pull. That's what my brain's telling me. I've done enough pulling. Everybody's been sitting on the back. I said, you can sit back there and chat. Come to the front. So Mike stands up. You see his bike? The tire is deflating. He's not aware of it. He's gonna do a little bit of a fishtail in a bit. It's gonna affect Laura and Paul. They're gonna see it right there. He's not aware, but the bike is fishtailing a little bit. He's losing air. He's losing pressure. And you see him look down. He knows, he will realize something is wrong. He kind of appears to be all over the bike because that rear tire is getting away from him because it doesn't have the pressure there. In a little bit, he will stand again, and then somebody will say, "What's going on, Mike?" I think Dan will be the one, and then Paul would make a comment like, "Well, it seems like he can't find a rhythm," or something like that, because they're not aware that he's having issues with his pressure. And when your tires lose pressure, that's what happens. I think it's somewhere around here. If I remember correctly, I was watching the clips earlier when I was editing. It's somewhere here, right there. He's feeling something. See him looking down? You see right there, right there, right there. It pulled more than he expected it to do.
What's going on?
So yeah. So Dan said, Mike, what's going on? Mike is still looking down. He knows something's up. You know how it is? Something funky with your bike. And you're looking, you're like, man, what's going on there? What's there? You know, that's what's going on with Mike right now. I'm not aware. I'm further back. I did not see this until I started watching the film. So he's pulling off because he's like, this bike, it's not functioning like I'm used to. So he pulled over to the left. As we corner, then somebody's going to say flat. Paul's going to ask him, everything okay?
Are you good?
He's not sure. So when he pulls on the corner, then he realizes my tire's flat. Because Paul's asking, are you okay? Because something's up, you know. Then somebody said flat. So that was all going on. So when your bike start acting funky like that, slow down gradually. Don't lock up the brakes. They said mechanical. I thought it was Pedro.
Weingrad.
You see, so Paul said Mike Weingrad. I didn't hear this. I'm behind them. I'm going to go down and do a U-turn and come back. And I'm going to say I think it's Pedro. I saw Pedro pull over. I thought it was Pedro. That's me going by. I'm going to go down the hill and turn around. Right there.
Something's happening because he went to go stand on a tree.
Yeah, I saw him missing.
Get us engaged, yeah.
Yeah, that's what Laura is saying, that when he stood up, the bike kind of went away from him. The tire just lost all pressure. And it turns out that he in a conversation off camera, he said that it's been doing that. Every day is soft or whatever. He and Mike Barreras were talking about it.
It helps take my mind off of things.
Yeah, the pain.
If I drowned out the pain, it would get better, right?
Yeah.
So I messed with him. I said, Mike can ride well. Let's leave him here. Let's go. We're picking him up on the highway. Mike is a stretch. So this is after we start to go again. But the problem is not resolved.
The queue, we will follow.
The problem is not resolved. So they end up, 2 or 3 riders stay with Mike. And they stay back, and we ride into Taco. We ended up seeing him later after we finished Bailey Grove, because by the time they got to Taco, we were leaving. You know, I didn't want to wait. I got a full day ahead. So yeah, so you got to make sure your bike is in good mechanical condition before you come for the ride, so you can get to ride. I mean, you know, I'm always on top of my bike before each ride. Well, long before each ride, make sure it's ready. In fact, when I finish a ride, after I've recovered, I put the bike on the stand and check it and make sure it's ready. The next time I jump on it, I don't want any surprises. So on the ride, if anything happens, I deal with it as soon as I get back. But he ended up having to get that sorted later. I mean, he ended up sorting it out while we were at Paco. So by the time they got there, we were leaving. So they didn't get to do Bailey Grove with us. We rode Bailey Grove without them. So we're on the South Pine Boulevard. You can see it on the map. It's called South Pine Lake Boulevard. There is a lake in one of the subdivisions on the right, further down this road. That's where they got the name from. We're going to be turning left on Mill Route. You will see Mike Barreras try to sneak away, but a car is going to mess with his attempt. An inopportune car. As we get to the corner, we're about to turn left. The car shows up, so he had to slow down. So I had pulled a little bit on Fish Creek, and then I had gone with those guys, you know, down Capitol and whatever. At this point, my engine was feeling better, and so we're gonna get on Mill Route. When I take the lead, I decide I'm gonna sit there until we get to like 105 or whatever. That was my plan anyway. I wanted to take a long pull, give my body a strong workout. That's what I talk about all the time. Instead of attacking the groove or whatever, we're riding together, I decide I'm just gonna take a long pull, or longer than normal pull.
That car couldn't have been more perfect. Jesus.
That's what Mark Barreras is talking about the car. So that car couldn't have been more perfect. So because the car slowed us down, I believe Logan got through. He's up there, and so Tim is pulling right now. I stay on Tim's wheel. Now Tim's gonna pull off in a manner which I think you shouldn't do. I mean, it's not the end of the world. You always have to make sure you protect your front wheel. But what happens is he stays up here, I think, longer than he wanted to. But when he was done, he did not motion to me that he was pulling off. You know, either you wave me up or you flick your elbow or something. I don't care. Some people pound on their hip, whatever. He didn't tell me anything. He just pulled over to the right and slowed down. And yeah, I was like, okay, I figured it out. I just went by. But you need to at least let people know when you're pulling off. You know, I'm not sure what, I don't know if he just didn't plan on sitting up there as long, but it wasn't the end of the world. It's just that it interrupted the rhythm. So when you're pulling off, once you decide to pull off, you get out of the way and let the rider know to come through. Don't just pull off and slow down. Flick your elbow, wave your hand, whatever. Or say I'm done. I don't care. Something. Trafficate. Let's put it that way. It's like a signal. I'm sitting on his wheel, just holding the rhythm. It's a decent effort. 200 watts or something when the road goes up. 200 to 250. Doing my best to stay smooth. You don't want to be wasting energy. Any excess movement, it takes energy for you to move any part of your body. So just move your legs. That comes from learning how to relax and having a good fit. Right here, he's slowing down, so I'm soft pedaling. You can see he stopped. Then I just go around. See, he didn't tell me what he was doing. Then he wanted to come back left, but then he saw I was there. So it's best to either wave the rider through as you pull off. Don't just pull off and slow down for them to figure out that you're done. Let them know you're done by either waving them through or tapping out, whatever they call it. Communicate with your fellow riders. So at this point I decide, okay, I'm going to sit up here and just do a good solid workout. Yeah, keep it steady. Even though it says 400 watts, I mean, that's pretty much what he was doing. I mean, he wasn't doing 400 watts, but I mean, we're going up. I'm a big boy. My body needed to do 400 watts to get up that climb. I'm trying to keep the effort the same. I think somebody asked Pedro what the average was. It said 19.9. The funny thing about me though is I don't track the average speed of the rides because I ride from home. I pick the group up. I don't do the lap function to where I'm concerned about what average speed the group did. I'm more focused on my effort zones, like what you see on the screen at the bottom. How much time did I spend here? How much time? Because that's what your body cares about. It doesn't care how fast you went. Because if you have the wind behind you, you might be flying and doing nothing. Or you might be going into the wind and going slowly, you know. So I don't worry about average speed that much. But people use that. So someone asked Pedro what the speed for this group, the average. We're average 19.9. So Paul is telling them because he said, let the camera do what they're worried about the camera. Paul just put the camera out to catch what's going on behind. Pedro said he's hiding from the camera. Why are you hiding from the camera? Just ride your bike. Don't worry about the camera. I shifted up one cog and I'm standing and you can see almost 80 RPM or whatever. Then when I sit, I downshift to get the rhythm back. We're gonna be going downhill. I was very surprised no one sprinted here. A lot of the guys like to sprint when you get to this point. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna take us. I really like 2854 when we turn because it's a grade. It's a gradual, what they call false flat. You get to really do some good work. We're heading kind of almost west right now. We're gonna be going north in a bit. We're going to be going north in a bit. In about probably 200 meters. I don't know why people like to say hold. Just point. It's ineffective. Let everybody know the road's clear. Take the main lane, I'll come back over. That was to carry more speed. So we carried a lot of speed. We got on here. People are going to be gapped back there. You see them? They've been chatting. They're not paying attention. So you have to work to come back to this thing. So I'm settling in on a tempo at about probably 18 miles an hour, 18, 19. And I'm going to settle. We're going up the hill into the wind because the wind's blowing from the north. We're going north. And it's a slight grade. And then it'll kick up in the distance. But I just settled into a rhythm because my goal is to work as hard as possible until we get to 105. I was going to actually take a break on 105, but it didn't work out that way. People started stretching their legs on the climb after 105, which you will see in a bit. I settle into a rhythm. My position is such that I can develop power from the hoods, the drops, wherever. We're on the open road. The FM 2854. We're headed towards Montgomery County, Texas. I switch to the left, get over those bumps. Those lanes have little ridges in them, the little ripples that if cars go over them, it kind of lets you know you're riding the lane marker. So I don't like to ride on them for any appreciable amount of time. Just kind of flick my bike over. Because this lane ends and we have to shoulder. I'm letting the driver know that we're going straight. That driver in that car, I want to make sure he or she saw us. You got to keep your eyes on those situations. Those are the situations you got to pay attention to. Don't assume that they've seen you. When there's a doubt, be prepared to stop. Or take other evasive action where necessary. The road starts to kick up around here. It says 0.2. I think it gets around 1.5%, 2%. You'll feel it because you're going into the wind. We're in a large gear. We're doing about 22, 23 miles an hour. I'm not sure if I downshifted here or not. I know I adjusted my gearing to where I was not laboring, but I was working. You have to ride smoothly enough to where people can follow you closely in comfort. Keep a predictable line.
I think they have mechanical again. Keep rolling.
Somebody called out and we're not sure what they said. That's what I'm saying. We didn't understand. I just heard the yelling and I just ignored it. Paul said keep rolling to have mechanical again. Maybe that's where, I don't know if Mike was with us or whether it was still back there. Maybe that's where they decided to deal with his flat again. He hadn't ridden with us in a year, and the first time we see him, he's out all these problems. You didn't get your stuff sorted, man, so you can ride. You see where we are on the profile? Pretty much, almost not quite the highest point. Once we go to Bailey Grove, we hit higher climbs, but you can see the elevation is up. Plus 280 meters on the left there. Going kind of northeasterly a little bit, mostly north. Here's what Mike Barrera says, let's have some fun. I just ignored him. I'm not going to break up our group just because you guys want to scurry down to the intersection in the distance. I'm going to ride the climb. We're doing about 30 miles an hour. Yeah, 48 is 30K. I mean, 30 miles an hour, 48K. So we're doing 30 miles an hour. I don't need to go much faster than that. Just keep riding. I'm not going to gain that much time. They're riding the distance, not that far. The camera makes it look further. I get in the drops to enjoy the descent. The road will soon level off. We're slightly down here, minus 2% down here. Now it's leveling off. We got a nice little train going. I didn't want to break it up. It's nice. We're just rolling. So if you rode at this effort, you could do 100 miles, maybe 5.5 hours or so, without killing yourself. We started the ride 30 minutes earlier today, so this is about 1 hour into the ride from the start. I looked behind before I got on the road. I looked in my mirror. There's nothing coming. I'm taking the lane because the right lane is actually the right turn lane. Logan's standing in that lane. He shouldn't be there. He should be behind these cars. This is what upset the drivers. And this is what Dan the man jumped the light, and I guess that's a breakaway, whatever. I didn't notice it when I was on the road. I don't notice him until we catch him, and I happen to be at the front. That's what made me notice him, but other than that, I couldn't care less. So when we go across here, the road goes up. It's a nice little bump that gets us into Taco. The one thing I don't want to do here, we're riding. We got a nice rhythm. I think Mike is pulling us. And When we get up there, I think Mike rides up to the back of a couple of riders, and then he just kind of wants to sit in. I don't want to change my rhythm. So you'll see me go around. Because if I'm going to be doing this work, let's get it over with. The hills are already painful, so let's just finish it. There's no point in prolonging it. I didn't realize my heart rate was this high at this point. I just continued going because I wanted to just keep my rhythm. Because he got behind these guys and sat there. No, I'm not sitting there. In a little bit, I'm going to come around Paul. Because Paul came up because nobody else wants to come through. It's kind of breezy. We're at the top of this hill. So I just go ahead and come around Paul here. It's hard, so nobody wants to come through. I wasn't sure if somebody else was going to come around or not. I just continued riding. I'm riding at the same effort I was riding at back on 2854. I let them know we're turning right. When we turn right, then I see Dan in the distance. I had no idea how he'd gotten there. I never noticed him at the intersection. This is a downhill into Taco. So we're just riding the downhill here. This is where I noticed Dan, and we just go around him. So I don't know what you did on Saturday, but this is part of what we did. And at the store today, every cyclist in the area showed up. It was very nice to see everybody out on their bikes. So remember, get your K's in and keep all the doctors fired.
Tinkerbird, huh?